My journey to America began with a sense of excitement and anticipation. After landing in Chicago, I was greeted by the iconic skyline, dominated by towering skyscrapers that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. The city's energy was palpable, with a vibrant mix of people, cultures, and sounds that made me feel like I was in the heart of something truly dynamic. Day 1. Exploring downtown Chicago. I started my exploration in downtown Chicago, home to some of the city's most famous landmarks. My first stop was Millennium Park, where the towering cloud gate sculpture, affectionately known as the Bean, reflected the city's skyline in its polished surface. It was fascinating to see how the reflections changed with the movement of the clouds and the sun's position. The nearby Crown Fountain, with its interactive video displays, was also a unique blend of art and technology that left me in awe. Next, I wandered down to the Art Institute of Chicago, one of the oldest and largest art museums in the United States. The museum's collection was vast, ranging from ancient artifacts to contemporary masterpieces. I spent hours admiring works by artists like Georges Seurat, Grant Wood, and Pablo Picasso, each piece telling its own story. After the museum, I headed towards the Magnificent Mile, a stretch of Michigan Avenue renowned for its shopping, dining, and architectural splendor. The bustling avenue was lined with high-end stores and historic buildings, like the Tribune Tower and the Wrigley Building. The views were breathtaking, and the energy of the place was infectious. Day 2. A day on the water. On my second day, I decided to experience Chicago from a different perspective, by water. I boarded an architectural boat tour along the Chicago River, a must-do for anyone visiting the city. The guide was incredibly knowledgeable, sharing fascinating details about the history and design of the city's iconic buildings. Seeing the skyline from the water was an entirely different experience, with the buildings rising majestically along the riverbanks. The tour also took us out onto Lake Michigan, where I got to see the full extent of Chicago's stunning waterfront. The contrast between the serene blue waters and the bustling cityscape was remarkable. The highlight of the day was watching the sunset over the lake, with the golden hues reflecting off the glassy skyscrapers. A perfect end to the day. Day 3. Immersing in Chicago's culture. On my final day in Chicago, I decided to dive deeper into the city's rich cultural scene. I began with a visit to the Museum of Science and Industry, one of the largest science museums in the world. The exhibits were incredibly engaging, from the massive U-505 submarine to the intricate models of the human body. It was a place where both adults and children could easily spend hours learning and exploring. In the afternoon, I made my way to Navy Pier, a lively entertainment hub on the shores of Lake Michigan. The pier was bustling with activity, from street performers to boat rides. I took a ride on the Centennial Wheel, which offered panoramic views of the city and the lake. The experience was exhilarating, and the views from the top were simply unforgettable. Before leaving the pier, I indulged in some classic Chicago-style deep dish pizza at one of the nearby restaurants. The rich, cheesy goodness was the perfect way to end my trip. As I prepared to leave Chicago, I couldn't help but reflect on the city's unique charm. From its world-class museums and iconic architecture to its vibrant neighborhoods and rich history, Chicago had left a lasting impression on me. It was a city of contrasts, modern yet historic, bustling yet serene. My journey through Chicago was just the beginning of my American adventure, and I couldn't wait to see what the rest of the country had in store.